Hello, everybody. We're off to a great start today. I hope you're all doing well. We were actually using a backup interface because when I went to load everything up, my Apollo, which is what I'm playing with right now, wouldn't read. I restarted 4 times, and I've had this for many moons. I'm gonna have to troubleshoot it. So we're not getting our audio through this, but I do use a backup interface. You always have a backup. We're using the little Universal Audio Volt 2. So this little guy, this is doing the heavy lifting for today. Thank God I had it. How are you guys doing today? I hope all of your shopping's done. Hope you're all feeling pretty decent and all that fun stuff. I got a lot to catch up on. I see a lot of people in here. Let's see what's going on. Phil wants a Valiant Jupiter or Texas Toast Challenger. Very nice. The Sir Alt T and Seafoam will do nicely. Those are tough, man. They're like never in stock. And when they are in stock, they don't really move on the prices of those because they know somebody's gonna pay for it. So yeah, I really like mine. I like mine a lot, but not the easiest guitars to get. Certainly not a Squire Classic vibe. They don't make them like that. It's not that I don't have the guitar I want, but instead I still don't know what kind of guitar I'm missing. You're not missing anything. If you have to think about it like that, I don't think you're missing anything. You're productive. You have a lot of stuff to work on. You're going to continue to get stuff for really reasonable prices. And I mean, like, for people that don't know, like $50 or so. And you're going to have fun with that. I don't think you're missing anything. You like the joy of the chase. Good morning. Played a Jag Stang yesterday. Odd guitar. I don't like those guitars, Rex. I don't like those. It takes like all the things I don't like about offsets and throws them into one package and somehow makes them even uglier. And the market agreed with me because those didn't sell well. They didn't sell well at all. Cheers, Greg. You bought one of those Fiesta. It was decent, but I just get along with it and you traded it. That makes sense. You don't need another guitar. The Epiphone Hummingbird. If I was ever gonna get another acoustic guitar, there's only two brands I would really consider because I wouldn't want to spend $1 billion. I'd get another Taylor. I miss my Taylor, and I have roots to Taylor, being a San Diego kid, and yeah, just they're really cool people and they make a good product. The only other brand I'd be interested in would be Headway. Headway are the acoustic guitar brand for the Visor guitars, who make Momose and 77 and Bacchus and all that. And that's how Mr. Momose, God rest his soul, started the company in 1977. That was the original brand. They didn't start making electric guitars like the ones I featured on this channel until the 90s. Not for sale. You're good on your Xmas. You already bought my stuff. I hope, just as a general thing, I hope all of you bought stuff for other people as well. I know we're indulging right now, but take care of your family and your friends. Steven wants a Yamaha RS502T SG style, except not as ugly. I'd much rather have the Yamaha than the SG. All right. A Roxy Pink Silver Sky. My daughter's eyes lit up when she saw it. Now it's on my way. Oh, man. Now, you posted that before I said what I said. Is it for you or is it for her? I hope it's for her. Hey, Brian. Hey, Bradford. Hey, Deb. Hey, Deb, how funny is that? Deb asked me about the Jaguar. She's like, I love this guitar. It's perfect. What are the neck dimensions? And I wrote in the comment. You can go back and read the times when I wrote this. This is so funny. I said, if I had to guess, I haven't measured it yet, 0.82 to 0.90 at the 1st and the 12th fret. I measured them last night. 0.82, 0.90. I play too many of these guitars. That's not healthy to be able to get that right. That's not healthy at all. Anyway. Sweet sweater, thank you. Do you know what it's from? Does it say what it's from on it? It does on the bottom, I believe. If you know what it's from, Markleford, he'll know what it's from, 100%. Anybody else, if you know what this is from, kudos. Very popular Christmas song from this series that we play in this house that my child loves. Saturday, you're picking up a new no old stock Mexican Stratocaster with a rosewood fingerboard. So excited, been looking one since breast cancer in 2007. Congratulations, Deb. Fantastic. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Simto. And Merry Christmas to all of you that celebrate. Simple as that. If you don't celebrate Christmas, I just hope you have a good holiday. You used to be able to say stuff like that, and just that was the end of it. That's how it should be. I'd like that telly I sent you, the Skyburst telly. Yeah, there's a guy. You didn't send me a price on that. There was a guy trying to sell one in Fort Myers last year for like $2,400, and I had no interest in buying it. But I sent him an ad of a brand new one. I think it was from Pitbull Audio that was just left over. And I was like, dude, this guitar, you could still get it for $11.99 and nobody's ever owned it. Like, why would anybody do this? And he's like, well, I can meet you at 16. And I'm like, first of all, I don't want it. I'm like, I'm trying to help you make a sale. I'm like, people know how to use the internet. Like, you're not even close, dude. You're not even close. But that's how some sellers are. Not very smart. Gretsch White Falcon, that would be a good choice. $13.99 used? Yeah, that's way too much money. That's way too much money. I would $9.99 tops used. It's a freaking American standard. It's an American professional. It's not worth that much. Gretsch White Falcon though, yeah. I have a thing for those guitars. I like the Falcon. I like the Penguin. Gretches are cool. I mean, why do you think I got my Telegretsch? Kind of scratches the itch a little bit as I scratch an itch. I just shaved as you, but the Tele is a lot more comfortable for me than a Gretsch guitar. That's why I don't own a Gretsch guitar. A lot of people ask me that. Telecaster comfort is primo. Okay, it's for you, you monster. Your daughter picked out a guitar she really liked, or she likes the look of, and you bought it for yourself. You're a monster. You know, if I played that game on my kid, I couldn't get away with it. My wife would be pissed. I could try it on my wife, but then I'd end up with another Jazzmaster. I don't need another Jazzmaster. The only Jazzmaster I would be interested in trying out is not a Jazzmaster at all. It's a Jazzmaster in name only. And that'd be one of the Japan Juniors, which is a route I've been really thinking about more and more lately. They're made in Japan. They weigh nothing. They're under 7 pounds. And they have a 24-inch scale length. A 42mm nut. Not bad. So super lightweight. And I could always throw Jaguar pickups in it. Fender just won't make a Jaguar. Jimbo's gift was Juan Soto signing with the Mets. Yeah, I think baseball's weird, man. Look, I grew up as a Met fan where they refused to spend money. Ever. So, when I see how much they spent on him, and then I look at Ohtani's contract, I said, yeah, of course the Mets would do that. Because, let's be serious. Juan Soto is not half the player that Ohtani is. And he's got a bigger contract. Not half the player. Very Mets thing to do. Although the one positive is it's made Yankee fans very defensive and very angry. Well, you guys are still losers. We've won all these championships. Yeah, when's the last time? How much money have you spent trying to buy them? Get out of here. Freaking Yankee fans. For me, the guitar would be a Gibson 57 Black Beauty triple buckers with a Bigsby. Vintage or new, but the Jimmy Page signature back from 2008 is my jam. Those are cool, dude. And they're really, really expensive. You know what other really cool guitar? It's not as unique as that one, but it's from like a similar era. The Gary Moore. That one sells still for a fortune, and if you just looked at it and you didn't see it was a Gary Moore, you would think, why? Doesn't even have binding on the neck. It's a very plain Jane looking guitar, but they sell for a fortune. They sell for a fortune. Good guitars. Bradford, hello. Hello. You guys are having a little mini conversation. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Bigsby. The only thing that immediately scares me off that is you're saying it's a. Well, I know what guitar is, but just on paper. Solid body Gibson with 3 pickups and a vibrato. You know what that screams to me? Bowling ball. Screams bowling ball. It's a little bit too heavy for my tastes on those. And with Les Pauls, because the weight's all like right there, you feel it. You definitely feel it. But no, I was curious what you guys would say about that. As far as if you could have any guitar this year, what would it be? It's a tough one to think about. I can't think of one. No, just the right Fender Jaguar. It's not gonna happen. Look how many years I've been trying. It's not gonna happen. My one Christmas wish. I want to go back. I want my 50th anniversary Jaguar back. I never complained about that guitar. I never changed anything on it. That guitar was perfect. I love that guitar. It was light. It was like a hair under 8 pounds. Sounded great. Played great. I had to sell that one. That wasn't like, oh, I'm selling it because I found a better one. No, I got put in a crappy spot and I needed to raise money quickly. That's the only reason I sold that guitar. That's what I want for Christmas. I want my old guitar back. At the price I paid for it. While I'm dreaming. You got yourself a Katana Gen 3 for Christmas. Loving the WDW with 2 Katana 112s and a 412 as the center drive. That's wet, dry, wet. That's gonna be loud. Depending on how you mic it, you could get some gnarly phase issues even in the room, just because of the way everything would have to be positioned to fight against phase. That'd be cool though. That'd be really cool just to sit and play that, especially at volume. Simto, you also said the Novo Cirrus J and or Motorave Bel Air for you. There you go. The Cirrus. I can't. Whenever I see the name of that guitar, I just think of Harry Potter. I'm not like a huge Harry Potter fan. My little sister is. And my kid listens to the first like 2 books on audiobooks, and she reads the first one. Second one's starts to get a little bit dicey. And I always remember Sirius Black. So whenever I see Novo guitars, Cirrus, I think of Sirius Black. You would like an upper end Tokai Les Paul. Modern or older? That's a big question. They're quite different. You're gassing to try a Fender Acoustasonic, but would probably regret it. Buy one that you can return within 45 days, and that way, if you do regret it, you can wash your hands clean of it. I know people that you look, they're not for me. All right, just like an SG, that's not for me. 3 pickup Les Paul with the vibrato on it, that's also not for me. That doesn't mean you won't love it. So try it. You want to try it? Try it. Just make sure you can get one with a warranty or return policy. You'll be good. You have to get a custom shop and it'll be under 10 pounds. No. Oh, I thought you were talking about a Jaguar. You know, most of the custom shop Jaguars that I looked at were heavier than the ones that I have. No, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. You just gotta get lucky. So buy an older Japanese one that's already light, because I don't want to ride anything in the body, or I don't know. And to me, like the thing about the custom shop Jaguar, with a custom shop Telly and a custom shop Strat, I get it more, because the original versions of those guitars are out of this world priced. Like they're not really reasonable to compare price wise, and then you don't know what you're getting. Granted, it'll always have more value because they're not making any more of those from the 1960s. But Jaguars, Mustangs, and this is the real reason why they won't make an American vintage Mustang, and they never have, and they probably never will, is because the price of a vintage Mustang, even one of the first years of 65s, they're not crazy. They're not crazy. They're right around what they would charge for one of the new American vintage 2, like Jazz Masters, in good shape. And once they've had a little bit of love on them, you easily find them for less than that. But that's the main reason why I believe Fender has not done it. Just they wouldn't sell that well. I don't think they would. So that's why the Japanese have done it, because they can make them to a much lower price point and they fill the demand that way. And Fender Mexico does it as well. Because again, it doesn't cost them anything to make those guitars in Mexico, and they're able to sell them for $1,000. Now, if they just gave the matching headstocks and did the stripes right, they'd be a little bit better positioned, in my opinion. But the guitars were nice enough. I really liked that one I had. You want a sweet Jaguar yourself? Leaves a lot to be desired, even post upgrade. The one you got is just seller. Well, buy it, Deb. If you want it, buy it. I don't know. I'm looking at it right now. It's right there. It's 8.5 pounds, so it's not like super heavy. I've been, I'm spoiled right now. Between the super thin line Telly, the JV Telly, and the Sir T, those are like the 3 guitars I play the most. The only thing that's missing with all those 3 guitars is the vibrato system. It's very loud. You want at least 5-watt mode. It's not blowing out the house. Chorus and Ping Pong Fly sounds incredible. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Or hear that, rather. Experience it in the room. Before I moved out of the old house, I filmed a video that never made it to air. This is embarrassing to admit, but I did this completely wrong. I watched an Andertons. No, it wasn't Andertons. It was that pedal show with those 2 blokes. They're funny guys. I like them. They're one of the few channels on YouTube that has to do with stuff with guitar where I'll watch the long form stuff. I find them very endearing. They were talking about stereo rigs and all this stuff. So I set up the Tone King Gremlin and the Vox AC15, both of those amps of which I don't have anymore, in a stereo setup. And I used way too much on the wet. So it's just like you couldn't even tell that it was like a guitar signal. And in the room, because I was playing so loud, I had the Vox, which was my dry amp, like pushed way more. So like I didn't hear how bad it sounded from the Tone King by comparison. It was way too time based. It was a little bit of at the time, the Zelza on top of it, which is a flanger phaser style pedal. So I'm listening in the room and I'm like, this is so cool. I'm having so much fun. I'm talking. I start to edit it and I'm listening back and I'm like, oh, this sounds awful. I'm like, I can't post this to YouTube because like you'll see me like in the video just smiling and having a good time, which that was very real. I was having a good time, but the end result was awful. It was awful, 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 awful. And that was the last time I tried to run a stereo rig. I said, you know what? That's cool. I'll stick to my dumb butt where I use a drive, like typically one drive pedal and an amp that has a reverb built into it. And as you can see, she's home. Clean bill of health. Z is back. You've only read the first Harry Potter, but I see what you mean. Yeah. Because it's just such a name that is exclusive to Harry Potter. Like, I've never... Sirius, Sirius, Severus Black. They're all Harry Potter things. Maybe they're big fans of them. Maybe that's why they did it. I mean, the guitars kind of look like Wizards broomsticks that were painted and then the paint wore off because, the Wizards rode the broomsticks too much and they started the relic. Maybe that's why I've never owned or never really wanted a Novo guitar, despite how everybody raves about them on the internet. I just look at them as Harry Potter wands and broomsticks. I'm old. Hey, Telly's better. You traded in a Big Sky you weren't using and a couple $100 for a Vinter 2 Jazzmaster. You want to change the bridge? Anything else? Nah, it's all for taste, man. Just with the Vinter 2, just make sure you nail the truss rod. You nail the truss rod on those guitars. You get the action in a good spot. Fretwork is good on it. You do those two things, you're good. So mainly focus on the neck. I think the pickups in that sound pretty good. The electrical components on it, they're pretty good. You want to throw in a stage trem, which is the way I would go about doing it. You're fine. No, I think you're good to go. I don't think you need much else. Maybe switch the cap to a lower value if you want to be able to use more of the volume knob rolling off, so it's not as sharp as a drop off. Because the treble bleed might not necessarily be what you want, but going from I believe it's a 0.04 UF to a lower value like a 0.01, that actually makes a big difference from what I've found. But no, they're good guitars. Blake, you want a Gibson ES335. Should have bought one a dozen years ago because the damn things are beyond price range now. Well, isn't that how it is? Everything is so expensive. That makes me stupid feeling about like the Fender Custom Shop Jaguar that I did sell. I paid $2,500 for that guitar. At $2,500, that's less than what a new American Vintage, if they don't make it. But if they did make an American Vintage 2 Jaguar, it would be more than that. And I had a mid-condition, journeyman relic Jaguar in Fiesta Red. At the end of the day, I didn't love it. But you know what a new one of those cost? The 64? $5,500. $5,500. It's insane. It's insane. It is a bolt-on guitar, sir. Sir, it is a bolt-on guitar. And you can't even give it to me new old stock. You got to ruin it with whatever you do with your screwdrivers in the workshop. People make me sick. You really want to try one of those Les Pauls with F-holes and a Bigsby. They look incredible. Way too much money. Those are another thing. Did you know, fun fact about those guitars, when those guitars were still available for sale, they couldn't be given away. Chicago Music Exchange had like crazy deals on those. Like crazy deals. Same thing with the ES345s that you'll see in custom colors. Like the blue and the seafoam green. People were getting those for under $2,000. Now, they're a little bit more than that. But those ES Les Pauls were not received all that well. Especially the ones with the F-holes. The only ones with the F-holes that did pretty well from start to finish were the gold tops with the P90s, which I had one of those. But the regular ones that look like Les Pauls that had a flamey top on them and humbuckers, those didn't do well. Those didn't do well. And even used before the boom of, the virus of Sirius Black, or actually he wasn't a bad guy, he was a good guy. Voldemort, the 2020 Voldemort virus. The ES Les Pauls at the beginning of that, the used ones were like $1,400 for ones with humbuckers and a Bigsby. Nobody wanted that. And then all of a sudden one person decided they were cool and now they're $3,500. Gotta love it. Was a good score. Vibrato on the bridge, maybe. I don't think you need to replace the vibrato on that. And I appreciate you, Greg, for calling it a vibrato. There are offset experts. They'll call it a trem. And I just want to take my water, close the cap, and just go whack. You charge $200 for a setup and you don't even know what it's called. Stay trim. Yeah, stay trim is the way to go, man. It looks cooler than Mastery too, unless you want like the modern look. Some guitars that aren't like direct inspirations from Jazz Masters, it looks a lot cooler to have the Mustang. Other guitars, like if you're doing like, I don't know, what was that one brand? Is it the Pinto? Where they look like Jetsons guitars? Those with the Mastery. That would be cool. Merry Christmas tellers are better. I appreciate that. $9.99. You said, always appreciate the work you do. Have a Merry Christmas. We're trying. Yeah. The one good news, I told you guys I was having stuff towards the end of last stream. And I typically don't talk about anything serious, but I worked my ass off in doing all the due diligence I possibly could to fix next year's healthcare. Because we had healthcare this year. We were just getting screwed, and we had United Healthcare. We no longer have United Healthcare, and hopefully things will be going up and getting better. But no, I really do appreciate that. Very rare for somebody to do something like that, and that means a lot. You got an Eastwood Maserati. Now, did I say that correctly? Or did I say that wrong? When I made that video years ago about the Japanese Kurokuma made one, was it Mosrite or Maserati? Shit. Either way. It's got Ed Elliott pickups, which sounds like the Ventures records. It's so awesome. Fender vibrato too. That's great. I love that. I like guitars that are different. I like guitars that are similar. I like guitars that are different. The only thing I don't like are SGs. How am I liking the Princeton? I really like it. I really like it. What I really like about it too, it's not going to replace this amp, but it's not meant to. And I'm going to discuss this at some point when things calm down a little bit. Like, because we're going to have a few videos. Like, there's going to be a video tomorrow with the Supro amp. You think I didn't make friends with the Fender Princeton amp? I don't think they were expecting me to actually show that stuff at the end. We got to be honest. Oh, the Supro. We go even further than that. And I go into I go into a place where people that review things and are hoping to get the company to want to send them new things in the future, I'm not so sure that'll ever happen. And it's not because, like, I have a vendetta. It's just basic, like, you don't give a damn and here's the proof. You don't care about the customer stuff. But outside of that, I kind of spoiled the video. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun to be making a video to show why just because you think a guitar is going to be similar sounding, like, because for example, if you don't know what I'm talking about, why some people would think the Z and the Princeton would be good competition for each other, it goes more than the fact that this has a 12-inch speaker in it and the Princeton's got a 10-inch. Because even if I were to have the 10-inch Princeton or the 12-inch Princeton Reverb that Sweetwater made, and I was comparing it with this, I still don't think that that's a good comparison because the circuits are entirely different. They just have a totally different vibe to them. And just because the tubes are the same and the speaker sizes are the same doesn't mean the end product is going to be close either. There's a lot of other things that go into it. But I love the different option that the Princeton gives me. I love it. Especially with single coil guitars. Like with humbuckers, I'm still far more likely to want to play this one. And let's call a spade a spade. This is a much better built amp. I don't think I'm saying anything telling tales out of school. This is my old hero Norm MacDonald would say. And yes, I said MacDonald because that was also part of the joke. God rest in peace. He was so funny. You want a 60s Jazz Master eventually? Well, that would be... Yeah, you know what? That's what I would want for Christmas. Somebody find me a surf green, a seafoam green, a Lake Placid blue, or a Taos turquoise, or Daphne Blue Fender Jaguar from the years 62, I don't want to 65, to 64. 62 to 64. Buy it for your buddy Jim. Send it over. I'll take one of those. You saw the Pinto guitars back at NAMM. You thought they were very cool and played great. Yeah, they're gnarly, right? They were gnarly, right? There's a lot of guitars like that. And you know who's another company that I want to try next year? Is Pure Salem. Pure Salem. But they fall into the Revlin category. Like I have mixed feelings on this because yeah, they're like Ricardo's guitars. And I talk about Ricardo's guitars a lot on here. That's another one I want to try. They build everything in the United States, and the prices are still really reasonable. I think their cheapest one is either $900 or $1,000. All American made. All American made. Brands like Balaguer, Balaguer, whatever it is. They have import models that are similar price, and some of them are much more than that. And they're Korean made. The company's based in the Northeast United States of America, just like Pure Salem. Those guitars aren't made here. And they cost as much as the Ricardo Sanchez ones that are made here. I don't know. And then we have people. Oh, the funniest thing I got a kick out of. I saw a few places. One bigger channel that at least, did a little bit of research on this and wasn't totally trying to scare people. Although the thumbnail and the title, smart, got people to click. Everyone's a tariff expert now. People are asking me about tariffs, and I was just like, dude, I don't know. I don't think anything terrible is going to happen. But if it does, like, whatever. It's, too soon to tell. The people trying to cash in on the panic of tariffs on YouTube clicks, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Your Mexican Fender, it's $1,000 right now. It's going to be $10,000. He's going to deport all the Mexican Fenders. Glad to hear you're liking a new Princeton. Well, we'll see how long it lasts. That's the other tale as long as time, and that's the danger of giving me something like that. I'm going to use it. Some people with amplifiers, especially like bigger channels that review amps, like, you know how many amps they have? Just look at their like amp wall. How often do you really think they're using those? And then when they make like, oh, this is my follow-up 1-year review, when's the last time you powered that amp on? Was it when you filmed the original demo? Oh, everything still works. I've had this for a year. It works perfectly fine. You don't gig with it. You're always demoing new stuff. It's not a good... I don't want to hear from you, your 1-year review, unless you're exclusively using it. I don't know. It's smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors on YouTube. And part of that's just like, you know what? That person probably didn't even think of it like that. And that's not just one person. Sorry, I'm having trouble speaking today. I didn't have my Coke, as you can see. That's how you know I'm not healthy. This is 2 weeks in a row with no Coke. But people that review things, long-term reviews, that just, they don't use it like it's their only amp. I'd much rather hear the opinion of someone that used something every single day. Like, you know what amp I was extremely qualified to give a long-term review on? And I would, to this day, give that amp a flying pass. Like, it did the job, and it did it freaking well, was the Tone King Gremlin. Say what you will about anything. You could have liked the sound. You could have disliked the sound. We use that video in every demo. I use that amp constantly. Constantly. Got moved around constantly. Never had a problem. The Gremlin, never had a problem. Falcon Grande, different story. That amp was a mess. And then every replacement one that didn't have the same problem, they all had the same problems. Went back to Tone King. They didn't fix it. They couldn't get it right. And then after 2 months of trying, I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. Because I knew if it was a Z or a Swart or a Victoria, I knew it would have been taken care of the first time. But but that was a good learning experience too. Because I learned about boutique amp distribution, the people who make Friedman, Tone King, They make Soldano now, Bogner. They make a bunch of brand Morgan. None of those brand manufacturers are actually building a damn thing anymore. They're sending all the stuff to BAD in Commerce City, California, and then they're building it whatever they spec out. It's not the same thing. They're not going to have the same expertise. They're going to have to make calls to figure out, why is this like this? Whereas if I have a problem with Z, I call the Z man. Not that I've had to, but that's how you do it. You do it with the manufacturer. So, your favorite bit? Oh, I see a Norm Macdonald thing. I gotta read Norm Macdonald. My favorite bit from Norm Macdonald was when he was on Conan, and Courtney Thorne Smith was talking about her Carrot Top chairman of the board. That was great because he had a few bits where he just punned off the word board. I can't pick a favorite though. The roast of Bob Saget is up there, only because he went up on purpose. They wanted him to be edgy, and if you've watched any of these modern roasts, it's just mean. It's just nasty. A lot of these people are just jerks. They're just angry. They're just bitter, and it's not meant in good fun. They don't often know the person they're roasting. They're just hired because they get clicks. Like Tony Hinchcliffe, perfect example of this, right? At least he's good at what he does. Some of the other ones, not so much. But it used to be that like you were friends with the person you were roasting, so it was coming from a place of love. And they encouraged Norm. They said, just let him have it. Let him have it. And Norm read like an ancient joke book, like verbatim. And it was priceless. He went up there on purpose to bomb. And he bombed, indeed. But you look at his face, he enjoyed every second of it because all of his friends, Bob and the people that were up there, they were so uncomfortable that it was well worth it to Norm Macdonald. I encourage you to watch that. Type in Norm Macdonald roast of Bob Saget. God, those jokes are the best. That was one of my favorites. I miss Norm. That's a good point about the one-year review. Yeah, if you're gonna review something, you better have beaten the thing into the ground. And how many people that do this YouTube thing that are getting all this stuff all the time? I mean, like big time stuff. How often are you actually using all this stuff? There's only so many hours in the day, and then you're still getting new products to film for. Like, there's no way you're using it in the same way that somebody who buys it as their number one amp, their only amp. You're not using it in the same way. It's just, I don't buy it. It just logistically doesn't work out. Yeah, chairman of the board. Another funny one was when they had Norm... They had Norm on some like YouTube award show pre-show with a guy named Kasim G. And oh my God, the woman that was co-hosting, she hated Norm, and he loved that she hated her. And they had all these guests come up, and just Norm just destroys all of them. He didn't care. He was my favorite. God. Hard to take demo channels seriously. Well, yeah. I don't even think it's the demo person's fault. A lot of the time. I don't. Because think of it like this. Like, okay, I'm a guitar player. I'm not, like, I still don't consider myself a guitar player. I consider myself a drummer. I only learned how to play guitar because the band I was in was starting to go into really, really poppy music. This was the late 90s. Blink-182 and those bands were very popular. I did not want to play any of that. I wanted to play other music and more aggressive music. So I was like, I can learn guitar. So I taught myself. Like, I don't come from it from the same way as so many other people that come from it. And I let a lot of the stuff just work for me over the years. Because I just wanted to learn how to not suck so bad at whatever I was playing that people would comment. That was my whole goal. My goal, and obviously you can see I'm not a shredder, I'm not a virtuoso. I very rarely play any lead on YouTube. because I think it's more practical for the average person, at least in my opinion, to watch somebody that is just gonna play rhythm, you know, and not just show you, look how good I am. And some of these people, oh, believe me, they are good, they are great. I think it's a good representation of the demo, of a product you're trying to demo. But yeah, it's not that I don't trust them for any other reason. Piggybacking off of what I said, like back then, and a lot of these people are my age and older, we didn't have YouTube. We weren't like, oh, I'm going to end up being the guy on YouTube demoing gear. No, we were all in bands, varying levels of success. And then all of a sudden YouTube does come around and everything changes. And we never learned how to be amp technicians. We never learned how to read a schematic. We never learned what was built to last with any of the digital stuff. All we knew was our own experience. So now a company reaches out to you, right? And they're like, will you review my amplifier? Okay. You plug it in. Everything functions when you get it. You're a great player. You can make it sound awesome. You say, yeah, this thing sounds awesome. It worked for you in that 1 day or that 2 days that it took you to film it. And then what do? You take the thing. Some people, they sell it. That's fine. It's part of a payment. Other people, they'll put it on the rack of the wall, rather, of amplifiers, and it gets used once in a while. And they just don't think twice about it. Nobody opens up, like I don't open up amplifiers and start looking at parts, first of all, because half the parts I would look at, I'd be like, I don't know what the hell this is. And second of all, it's just like, that's not my pay grade. I'm a musician. I think it's just asking a lot. My point is, it's asking a lot of the people that do this. We're already our own cinematographers, videographers, editors, social media managers, script writers in some cases, in some channels, the talent on the air. Then you got to perform. Now I got to learn about the amps. I got to take the things apart to make sure they're not garbage. Life would be a lot easier if they just didn't build garbage. Do you still think the Gremlin is better than the Princeton? Reliability-wise? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 I'll be honest. Yeah. But I enjoy playing the Princeton a little bit more. But I know it's a ticking time bomb. Whether that time bomb goes off in 5 years or 2 years, or maybe it won't last 10 years, not with how much I play the guitar. But it's a delayed punishment where I know it'll get really expensive to fix it. There's something about a 10-inch speaker with built-in reverb and tremolo. It's hard to beat. And I went through so many pedals, from the high-end Surfy Bear, which I never actually made videos on, Strymon, Source Audio. I've tried so many combinations of things to try and get those effects from pedals. It's not even close. If some people, they feel like it is and they're happy with it, or using plugins, more power to you. But for me, playing guitar first comes my enjoyment in the room. And like, perfect example, the video I just made, the last upload with the Jaguar. Once I started to turn the gain up and I had the verb cranking and just a little bit of the tremolo dialed in, like, I stopped playing and I was just like, that is it. And I meant it, because that's the sound I love. And I was never able to get that exact sound out of the Gremlin. Quality-wise, the Gremlin's a much better amp. Much better amp. But the Princeton sounds great. His OJ jokes were killer. Yeah, that's what got him fired from Saturday Night Live. I liked when he went on The View too. He talked about, I can't say any of this. I'll get in trouble on YouTube. But he insinuated it was I thought it was common knowledge that certain ex-president of the United States did something nefarious and unalived somebody. And the women in the view are like, you can't say that, Norm. You can't say that. You're here to promote your show. And he's just like, no, he did. He did it. He definitely did it. And then that man, that ex-president's wife, ended up trying to become president. She didn't make it. Praise be to Jesus for that. The old D. Martin jokes are by far the best. Well, that's what I grew up on. I grew up in New York, and my dad loved those, and they were great. And Don Rickles especially was one. He's my dad's favorite, but he's one of my favorites too because he didn't need to work dirty, but he was so smart, and he's quick on his feet, and he's able to really get you without just being like crass or rude about it. That's one thing that's like really missing with the new ones, like Jesselneck. Like that guy just sucks. He's just dark. It's just not funny. Just mean. Hinchcliffe has his moments. I think he's probably the best of the roast people. I think Glazer's okay. And then you have people like Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura. You know, you could say whatever you want about Joe Rogan. Let me tell you this about Joe Rogan. I can't stand the fact that he made so many shitty comedians into household names. Gringo Poppy. Drummers make the best rhythm guitars. I appreciate that. I'm not saying it for myself, but I appreciate that because in my experience, I know 3 other people that took the same exact journey I did. They were drummers. One of them actually ended up being a bassist. And he's a monster, dude. He is a monster. Oh, I hear someone honking. I think I might have a package. Hold on 1 second. This actually will tie into something I wanted to talk about too. 1 second. I'm going to just double check. Okay, it wasn't a package. I know I tangent a lot. This is what happens when you're sober and you don't sleep. Oh, but if you're getting anything else from now until the rest of the year, just make sure you have signature for delivery on your packages. Period. The amount of porch theft is insane. Okay. I was just talking about drummers making rhythm guitars. Yeah, he's so good at bass. And then the other ones I know, they ended up playing similar styles to what I play. And we all kind of did it on our own, like, pats in different locations. Like, they ended up being, like, funk / one of them plays in, like, a ska, more of a ska-ish thing. But, like, it's all right hand. It's all in the right hand. And the reason it works so well is because when you start as a drummer, everything works on your right hand is the hats. And your left hand is the snare, if you're right-handed. So, like, you got to really have them in sync. That's the only reason people think I can play guitar. I'm not a very good guitar player. I just have good habits from being a drummer. I often hear you playing Japanese music. I was wondering if you're familiar with Kawatani. Yes. He's excellent. But my favorite is, oh my God. I'm totally blanking on his name. The lead guitarist for, well, the only guitarist for Unison Square Garden. He's my favorite right now. Oh my God, I feel like such a jerk because I can't place his name right now. But he's a monster. And he's somebody that if you're a guitar player and you were to watch him perform, because there's live performances of Unison Square Garden, they're not a newer band in Japan. They've been around for over a decade. But you just watch him. He's the lead singer, and how easily he flies through some of this rhythm stuff that some of it by itself would be difficult to make it through if you weren't singing. But he sings on top of it. He's a world-class talent. World class. He's one of my biggest musical inspirations, I would say, these days. And just so I can give you the name here, I'm actually going to look it up. If my computer will allow me to. It's not allowing me to. It's not allowing me to. I feel so stupid. Square. Okay. Kosuke. Kosuke Saito. He plays Atelier Z. Well, he played Atelier Z's. I saw last year he was in part of the Fender Japan promotional ads, and that actually kind of made me sad. Only because he was so loyal to Atelier Z. Upper East Side model. Also their take on the Strat. Anyways, no, I love Japanese music. Love Japanese modern music. One day I'll do a stream just about Japanese stuff, and we'll play some of it. Not me play it. We'll go through. We'll play it. Who cares if it gets demonetized? And you guys can listen to it. And I'll introduce you guys to a bunch of stuff. Lots of excellent players out there. You describe myself as a drummer that plays the guitar. That's why you liked how I talk about guitar. See, there we go, Greg. That's true. Most Metallica. Oh man, this I am way behind. I'm way behind. Oh my god. Hold on. I apologize. My chat just really jumped out. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. I missed some comments. I'll try to scroll up in a second. That's not true. Most Metallica songs are written by with Lars and James, so the riffs and the drums are also interconnected. There you go. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I missed a few. Let me just double check here. You want to try Phantom guitars with Brian Jones Teardrop Phantom? Yeah, I did a video on those. Last January. Oh my god, that was a year ago. Because that was right after NAMM. I'd be interested in trying one of those. Isn't it Phantom? Not Phantom? And Magnatone. Magnatone is another company that I'd love to see how those hold up over time. I know the old ones were very good. Okay, Fender Mustangs or Duosonics are cheap for vintage if you want a vintage Fender for Christmas. Yep, exactly. Geez, Jim, I'd take a 60s Jazzmaster and Barbie Pink if it played and sounded like the examples I've heard played in the past. You know what? I would too, but not in three-tone Sunburst. Barbie Pink, bring it on. Barbie Pink, glitter, unicorn, sparkled, terrestrialized, cool. My kid can hear me. I gotta wrap up in a second, but I said that to see if she would notice. Okay, Jaguar with the compressor pedal is the Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge for Shanti. Guitars are shown in guitar tone 2. Yeah, and what's funny about that is I'm actually not a huge Chili Peppers fan. I actually never got into Chili Peppers, but I always loved Frusciante's playing. That was the only reason I could listen to that band back then, when he was still in the band. Yeah. And I don't use a compressor much. I should. I think it is okay to love guitars and gear and not be the greatest player. Well, yeah, I think it's good for anything. If you have a hobby you really love and you enjoy it, like who cares if you're not going to be the best? If you get enjoyment out of it, then that's all that matters. I'm certainly not the best at any of this. I'm not the best YouTuber. I'm not the best producer. I'm not the best editor of these videos. I'm not the best speaker. I'm certainly not the best guitar player. I'm not the best songwriter. But you know what? Does any of that stop me from doing it? No. And a lot of you guys seem to relate. So we all hang out every week. We talk about it. That's a good thing. You recently went to a guitar shop determined to buy a Les Paul. After playing a bunch, I realized I don't actually like playing them. Do you have a guitar that you love on player but you hate when playing? I'll give you a hint. You answered it yourself. It's the only reason that somebody wants to buy a Tokai. I have it for sale. The green one. There's not a damn thing wrong with it. And you know how many Les Pauls I've been through trying to make a Les Paul work? It's not it. It's just not it for me. I'll keep trying because I'm an idiot. But they're not for me. They're not for me. It'll have to be something else. Jim, hope you're doing well. I agree. Nothing beats Princeton Spring Reverb and Trev. I agree with you, Robophonic. Hope you are also doing well. Hoi poi. Hello. I didn't miss you there. Don Rickles. Yeah, Don used to kill everybody, man. Don killed Sammy Davis Jr. He used to kill Dean. He used to kill Sinatra. My dad loved those. And like, you know how you could always tell when you were a kid, like when your dad was like really laughing or when he was just like, like those roasts killed him. They killed him. Yeah, we grew up right around there, man. Man. Wild. Old comedians were as talented voice-wise as Mel Blanc, and their animated cartoons personality-wise. Yeah, now it's just a much lower bar. Here's a question for you. My Princeton came with a 12. If I wanted to try the amp with a 10-inch speaker, is there anybody that sells an adapter? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not going to BS you. I've never tried to do that. The only thing I've ever heard of people doing was people buying the 10-inch and then trying to size it up to the 12. I've never heard of somebody buying the 12 and then size it down to the 10. If any of you can help Liggett, leave him a comment, because that's a new one for me. And I'd just be talking out of my butt if I answered you, because I don't know. Amuse yourselves, people. Exactly. How do you like the Music Man amp you have? That amp will never die. If all amps were made to that quality standard for longevity and repairability, then none of what we just talked about, or what I just kind of meandered around for about 20 minutes today, would ever have to be spoken about. Because you could leave the Music Man. You could come back to it in 20 years, you turn it on, and it's still going to work great because it's actually a great amp. And if you had used it for those 20 years, yeah, you would have switched to power tubes. But outside of that, maybe the caps, a recap, that's it. They're built to last. Jim Carrey's impression of Don Rickles at the United Nations is perfect. Check it out. Yeah, Carrey's had a lot of impressions that a lot of people don't know he's done. Because, yeah, there's so many good compilations of Jim. And how he got his start was really funny, too. Like, he tried to get on SNL for years. And they were like, we don't want anything to do with you. Because he wasn't standard comedian. They didn't think his actual comedy was good. They thought he sucked. And notoriously, the first time he ever did comedy, like, even the MC of the place he did it for, like, they roasted him. Like, any other normal person, they would have never tried to do stand-up comedy ever again. But then Jim Carrey ended up keep going at it. And after some work and getting some smaller side jobs, he got in Living Color. And the rest is history, because in Living Color with the Wayans brothers, they let him actually be himself. Like, that white boy is crazy. Yeah, Fire Marshal Bill. He didn't care. He didn't care. And then, how stupid do you think Lorne Michaels felt? All of a sudden, he's in Ace Ventura. And then he's in everything. If you're old enough to have remembered the 90s that well, Jim Carrey, there was a new Jim Carrey, at least one, every single year. And every single year, it was like the highest grossing film outside of like Titanic. But he was a money machine. He was a money machine. But not everybody recognized that. Saturday Night Live certainly didn't. Idiots. They haven't gotten any better. That show still sucks. As you can tell, I'm a big comedy fan. Unison Square Garden are cool. I like that Drop Tokyo live show they did. Guitar player also is divided by 13 amp. One of my favorites. He uses that, and he uses a Shiva, a Bogner Shiva, for Unison Square Garden. And there's another band my wife likes, Kanaboom. They use a Shin's Music. I believe it's the Rocket model. It's a super cool amp, and it's got the cool idea to it where you have a microphone inside of the cabinet, so it's like an ISO cab as well. It's gnarly. Only the Japanese would think of something like that, and you can record quietly. Because your vintage band's very loud. Like in a room like this, you'd be hearing all my neighbors and they'd be cursing for me to stop. Like, shut up. You're too loud. We've been hearing you yammer on in English about guitars, comedians, and amplifiers for over an hour. That's enough. Yeah, the Drip Tokyo one, that was the one that was, I think, a 3 or 4 song set inside of what looked like the old, where they used to hold the MTV thing. What are the, oh my God. So I know this about Japan, but I'm flaking on the, what they used to be called, Total Request Live, TRL, where you could have the big windows. I think they played 3 songs that set. But there's a lot of good full concert footage from Unison Square Garden. That's definitely worth checking out. Great band, really, 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 really good band. The drummer of that band is crazy. They're all crazy. They're all good. Extension cab. Yeah, you want to buy a speaker cab? Well, the extension cab's never gonna sound the same. It's just not. Sorry, the light's killing me today. I slept in my contacts last night. I think that means I've reached my limit. There will be no stream, I don't think, before Christmas. So I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas. You could comment on videos. I'll talk to you that way. But I hope it's safe. I hope you all stay safe. If you do drink, you go to any of these parties with any family, do not drive a car. Just be responsible. And don't drink too much where you're going to start any argument with your family. Don't talk about politics. And don't get lectured by a guitar YouTuber. Not good. I love you all. And I will see you soon. Tomorrow, it's a Supro Day. And then, I think there's one other one before Christmas that I can get done. PRS. Adios.